I think it's frustrating. The American people are sick and tired of the Clinton White House or Hillary Clinton. She didn't get prosecuted, even though she had those classified emails on her server. And look, I give kudos to Judicial Watch. They've been tough. They've stayed on this. And that's what we have to do in this town. If these people just don't lie down, they don't go away. You have to fight them every single step of the way. It's what you have to do. And 6 years, the way I understand it, I just saw Tom Fitton here in the Fox studio, and he said that she should be deposed in about 75 days, within 75 days. And look, this has been going since 2012. I mean, it's been a while.
Interesting. Okay, thank you for that. Now, you filed your own suit against the Washington Post, which was a daily newspaper now owned by the world's richest man as a kind of vanity publication. Why are you suing them? On what grounds?
Well, it's funny you say that, right? Like, this is the world's richest man. I call it his glamour project. He wants to promote his company here in the nation's capital. I get that. But it's not okay to slander and defame me. And if you may remember, when the Russia hoax was resurrected again just a couple weeks ago before we went into the coronavirus issue, we were talking about Russia again. And they brought me into this. They claimed that I had went to the White House, that I had talked to the president, that I got the acting director of the National Intelligence fired. Well, there's a problem with the story, Tucker. I never spoke to the president. I never spoke to the president about McGuire. In fact, the day that they claim that I supposedly went to the White House, I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so, you know, so we filed today in federal court. My guess is that Bezos, who has billions, he'll hire an army of lawyers, and his people won't be held accountable. And we have to, as Republicans, start to fight back against this fake news. You just can't take something and make it up out of whole cloth. Okay, when I was in another state, for God's sakes, I never talked to the president. This is easy to prove. And what will happen, I promise you, is they'll hide. They'll hide from the federal judge, and the judge will have to get him to come in.
Can I say, this is a broader, more philosophical question, but I think it's important. Why do the rest of us play along in pretending the Washington Post is like a newspaper? It's a news organization. They're covering the news, when it's one man's propaganda operation? Why don't we just say that?
Well, look, I do, right? So I don't talk to the Washington Post, and I advise all my colleagues not to talk to the Washington Post. And look, I think one of the things here, and this is actually in my lawsuit, is that you took them to task, actually. So the reporter that wrote this is a true Russia hoaxer. And you showed that on your show, I think a few months ago, that they are used to. They continually talked about there was no FISA abuse. The dossier wasn't used to get a FISA warrant. They were wrong. They never corrected that. And so I think that's part of what you're seeing here is that I've continued to hold these media companies accountable, and they don't like it. And so then they just think it's funny to throw me into their fake news stories, and I'm not going to stand for it. That's why, I urge everybody. I've created defendusa.com so that if you're out there and you believe that we should be fighting, you can go there and join the fight.
So the world's richest man owns the local newspaper in the world's most powerful city, but nobody thinks that's a problem? Nobody thinks that's undue concentration of power? Nobody thinks that maybe Jeff Bezos has an agenda, which he so obviously does? I mean, it's a little weird that we don't say that out loud, but I agree with you. It's not worth reading. It's garbage. They're liars.
And I'm saying it in federal court, Tucker. I mean, that's exactly what I say in federal court today.
Well, you should. It's garbage. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time.
A D.C. District Court judge today ordered the deposition of Hillary Clinton in a Judicial Watch lawsuit. The former Secretary of State will have to answer questions under oath about her emails and Benghazi attack documents. Judge Royce Lamberth stated the following in his ruling, quote, "The State Department has thus failed to persuade the court that all of Secretary Clinton's recoverable emails have been located. This is unacceptable." Joining us tonight, Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch. And Tom, congratulations on this ruling, and get your thoughts about where this goes now. This is not the first time that a judge has said proceed. It's striking that it's in a D.C. federal court, district court.
Yes, and it's over the objections of the Justice Department and the State Department. They were in court in December against us on this very issue, trying to shut the inquiry down. We got one or two attorneys on our side. I'm sitting there. On the other side are 6 attorneys with the government and 4 lawyers for Hillary Clinton and her aides. And thankfully, the judge overruled the objections to further questioning here, because we have had more evidence come out as a result of discovery. In this case, this is the case, by the way, Lou, that broke open the Clinton email scandal way back in 2015. Right. It's about Benghazi talking points. And, you know, the judge wants to know, what was Hillary Clinton thinking when she was using this system as it relates to the Freedom of Information Act? He wants to know about whether there are document issues related to Benghazi. And her top aide, Cheryl Mills, also has to be questioned. He also authorized us to subpoena Google, because there's this issue about whether one of her email aides or vendors had sent all of her emails to a Google account. So this is a broadening inquiry. It's limited in scope. We can't get to ask every question under the sun we might want to, but it's remarkable that A, the Justice Department and State Department opposed this.
The State Department and the Justice Department.
Yeah, they were all in there yelling about it. Yep. Every effort we made to get more answers, they've opposed.
On what grounds, if I may inquire? I mean, I hate to seem stunned, but to see this Justice Department again trying to shut down an inquiry into a matter that is far from settled, and certainly in the view of the public, is remarkable.
Well, they suggested the extraordinary circumstances necessary for discovery and questioning witnesses under oath hadn't been met by the Clinton email scandal. They didn't think it was serious enough. They thought all the questions had been answered, and obviously the court disagreed. We're getting more testimony showing that there was, for instance, we just got a Benghazi email showing that they had a Benghazi email for years that they're holding back. And that if it had been disclosed, the whole email scandal would have been exposed years ago. And then the FBI and State Department are dribbling out more Clinton emails. The judge is upset with the way this has been handled by the State Department and the Justice Department, and he thinks Hillary Clinton can provide more information, because she has answered questions under oath, but in writing to us. And for the judge's point of view, that hasn't been sufficient, and we should be able to question her directly. Our attorneys will. And follow up directly with her in person. So this is a straightforward case in many respects. What's remarkable is the obstruction we've been facing from this administration. The president said, when I tweeted about this from one of our last appearances, he said it was a disgrace that the Justice Department was still defending Hillary Clinton, and